Hijinks Nation, we are back, and we're going to do something really fun for you guys today. First off, we're going to just start right now. We're going to dive right in. We've got Joe. He's going to do an eating challenge for us today.
We're going to start right away.
So we're diving right in because Joe's timed, and the timer, what it is, 25 minutes, Joe?
Yeah, we're going to make it 25 minutes because that's as long as this episode is. So should be 30, but we'll do it in 25.
So Joe has 25 minutes. While Kyle and I are talking about our topic today, Joe has 25 minutes to eat. Correct me if I'm wrong, Joe, but 2 McChicken sandwiches, 2 large French fries, 10 chicken nuggets, and a large Coke, and a Big Mac.
Did you add in the Big Mac, or is that part of it?
Joe added in the Big Mac.
Jesse told me
he wanted a real challenge.
Well, Jesse told me the other was too easy, so he said I need to add a Big Mac. So I said okay.
Well, the fries, the McChickens, the chicken nuggets, and the soda. I was thinking to myself, if I was hungry, I think I could do that, and I'm not a competitive eater.
Let alone being fat, and I'm hungry and fat. So.
All right, so Joe, you got
going after it.
I'm going to timer.
Ready?
Now. All right. So, Joe, you mute your microphone so we don't have to hear you. We're just watch your food to make sure you're actually eating it. You're not stuffing it away. And Kyle, our topic today, it's going to be staying relevant. How to stay relevant in this society, and it kind of goes with what Joe's doing right now. There's a platform really popular called TikTok, and this challenge derives from TikTok. So he thought it would be a good day to do that. So just give me an example of some way that you're staying relevant in the DJ world today.
Sure. TikTok's a huge one, especially with all the dance elements and the music and everything that's on TikTok. That's always a real big one. Another really good one to watch is like anything that's going on with Snapchat or Instagram, Insta Stories, Facebook. Kind of keeping an eye on all those, just seeing what everybody else is kind of doing, to see if there's anything that you can kind of incorporate throughout your sets as a DJ to add those in here, add those in there to make sure that they, staying relevant with everything. The TikTok was a big one, especially like if we would have had the prom season. I know you were working on it. I was working on it. I know Joe was too. Kind of going through some of those TikTok songs, getting out those pieces of those songs to kind of add into our rotation, to add something in there. Just because that's what all the high school kids are doing. They're all on TikTok. They're doing all sorts of different challenges and stuff. I did a benefit event a couple weeks ago for a nonprofit, and we did it at a college, and we were getting done and we were cleaning up and the whole thing. And I kid you not, 6 students came in like, "Hey, we need this hall because we need to make a reply for a TikTok." So the entire time I was tearing down, they were shooting videos and saying, "No, you need to do it this way. No, you have to do it this way. No, you have to, your timing's off." Like, it was just crazy. And so that's a big one right now. Obviously there's other things, but how about yourself? What do you try to do?
Yeah, like you said, with the proms, definitely this year threw me a curveball. I'm not getting any younger. TikTok definitely is under my age range, but I knew this year TikTok, that's where all the new music at. That's where the kids are hearing their new music. So I said, okay, I'm going to download TikTok. I'm going to go to the trending videos. I'm going to find these sound clips, just a little extra diligence to go in rather than going in with kind of the playlist I had last year for prom. That's not quite the same as it is this year. Cause if you don't have what came out yesterday for a high school kid, they think you're no good.
Yeah, I remember doing one, even a wedding, and there was a lot of younger kids there, and a person literally asked us like, "Hey, do you have this new Ariana Grande song?" And I'm just like, "Oh, God, I haven't heard that one." She's like, "Well, it dropped today." I was like, "Oh, no, I don't have that one yet." But luckily, because of the fact that I try to plan ahead for those sort of things, I do have an online service that I can get ad events and stuff. I was able to get it and play it, but and that was really how fast it was that they're looking for new music and hearing new things. It's like, oh yeah, it dropped at 3:00 today. You don't have it yet? It's like, no, I don't have that one quite yet. I've been setting up for this wedding all day. So
No, I think that's, you said you have an online service. I think that's definitely one of the trends that I see in the industry. I think it's one of those gray areas. There's been a lot of talk about it, but as technology gets better, internet connections get better, who knows? Maybe in 10, 15 years, we're going to have internet worldwide free for everybody possibly. And maybe
right.
that's how we do things. We don't know yet.
Sure.
Right now,
Like,
we've got the Tidal service, TIDAL. They're really, they're starting to dominate in the streaming area. They're touching not only the DJ industry, but more of the mainstream, kind of like Spotify is. They're creating a service like that.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to clarify just real quick on my online service. It's something that I pay for through Virtual DJ, which is the program that I use. And basically they pay for the music and then you pay for the right to use it. So it is paid for music. It's not just something I'm streaming for free. Just wanted to make that. I'm not somebody who does that. I don't stream off Spotify for free or anything like that. Everything I have, I pay for. I'd feel really weird if I don't. So
Right.
Anyway, yeah, but like with Tidal and stuff, I've been thinking about moving to that because I just recently bought a new controller and I brought the new Denon Prime Go, which unfortunately hasn't arrived yet. And that's something that's built into it is the Tidal, and so that's something that I'm really interested to try out too. And I think you're right. That's going to be part of the move forward. That's just the way it's going to be. And looks like Joe's done with his French fries.
He's still chicken nuggets and his Big Mac, I believe.
You already have both chicken sandwiches gone too?
No,
Oh, he's got one chicken sandwich. Okay.
he's got a lot to do. Keep going, Joe.
Keep going. You're doing great, buddy.
Quit.
Sorry, just a real quick update on that. But yeah, so staying relevant is kind of a thing, and to me, that kind of staying relevant, and the reason I pay for that service through Virtual DJ is because in case something like that, I have a lot of music, but sometimes you get that really weird song that you're probably never going to play again, and you don't necessarily want to go out and spend $1 buying it, just right on the spot from iTunes or Apple Music or Amazon Music or something like that. So
yeah. So my opinion, I think the streaming services right now, they're perfect backup plans, emergency plans. But I remember when I started DJing, we're 2001, 2002, the idea of DJing with a computer was like, oh, that's never going to take off. DJs don't use computers, and look at it now. I've even got a set of 1989 Technic turntables back here, but they hook to a computer. How weird is that?
Yeah.
Which kind of leads me to, we're talking about staying relevant. Let's talk about some equipment, kind of some new technology and how things are modernizing from maybe the 80s or 90s now to today.
Well, and I think staying relevant, if you go to the equipment thing, I actually have a good family friend who used to DJ and kind of showed me some of the ropes and kind of got me interested in doing it originally. He actually did my mom when she got remarried, did their dance and everything. And so kind of got me interested in it. And when talking to him, the thing that he's just like is like, I can't believe how much you have to do as a DJ now. And so that's kind of like the staying relevant because, we do photo booth, we do uplighting, we do awesome spark machines, which we just did a video about a little bit ago. Pin spot lighting, they want ceremony, they want reception, they want, all those different things, dancing on a cloud. Some people have snow machines, some people have these bubble machines, some people there's so many different things that they ask you to do. That's part of the staying relevant too is, okay, where can I fit in? Where's my niche? Where can I, because you can't have everything. You can, me as a single op currently, I can't afford to have everything, unfortunately. I'd love to, but that's kind of what I think is where that comes into play is just, you have to be able to do all that stuff. So what do you think?
Well, definitely those add-ons, weddings are definitely going to production value, these new brides, these new couples, they want bigger and better. They want the wow factor rather than, a DJ setting up in the corner and playing music. They want more. They see an image online. I want that at my wedding. So yeah, I think the add-ons are definitely really important to staying relevant. New technology is always going to come out. We're going to need the next best light or the next best smoke machine or laser machine, whatever it might be for your situation. Also, we started, like I mentioned, my turntables. So that's how DJs started. They started on vinyl turntables, and now we've moved to digital controllers. So they do everything typically that turntables do, but now they're all in one package. They're very convenient, easy to haul around. They control the computer. So that's another way, keeping a controller, it condenses everything all into one package. So you don't have 20 different devices out here, wires plugging everywhere. That controller kind of acts as an all-in-one.
Yep.
And then also speakers. My gosh, speakers have come a long ways here in the last 5-6 years.
Yeah, I was saying just in the last 5
it's
so far.
Blowing my mind. Just, line array technology has been around for a long time, but hasn't been accessible to the small guys.
Right.
You go to a big rock concert, you're listening to line array speakers because they have to fill this huge arena or this huge, grass lot for this concert or festival, whatever it is.
Right.
Now they've used that exact same technology, shrunk it down, so guys like us can go into a ballroom and use that. It's not the loudness that the line array technology is. It's sound projection and sound clarity. Mm-hmm. And I think both of those are really huge. And it's one of those things, kind of like a standard definition TV compared to a high definition TV. I don't think you know the difference until you move to the higher quality and you're like, oh my God, what took me so long?
Right. And that's exactly what it was. Like when I moved to the speakers I have, which are the Evolve 50s, I was like, okay, this is insane. And I didn't have a bad sound system. And that was the thing that I found right away when I used those. I never got complaints about my sound before, but I never got compliments. And I want to say the first probably dozen times I used them, people just come up and was like, those sound amazing. Mm-hmm. And they still do every once in a while. And they're just like, but they're so small. Like, how do they do that? It's like, they're wizards. I don't know how they do it, but they did really good. And I understand, I understand the wave guides and I understand that, but they don't want to hear that. They just want to hear that it's crazy and it's amazing and it's magic. But that's the kind of the difference there to me was, like I said, I never got complaints about my sound, but I never really got compliments because everybody had 2 giant speakers up on a stick, subs somewhere, and then that's what everybody had. But then you have something that looks a little bit different. It sounds a little bit different. And the other part that I really like is you get a lot of compliments that people can hear during the toasts because it does such a nice job of spreading the sound out. Or a lot of times if you get a point source box, sometimes people are set up a little bit behind them or off to the side and they can't quite hear it, or it's muffled because it's right behind them. And so that's what I love the most about them.
Yeah, I think that's when they really notice right away is like, wow, we can understand what they're saying for the speeches. Like most DJs we've heard in the past, if we sit in the back corner, it's muffled or it's too quiet. And that new technology definitely pushes that.
Yeah, that's definitely a way to stay relevant because and people can say, well, it's just equipment. Well, I think it's a way to stay relevant because if you have somebody at that venue who potentially has somebody that they know getting married, themselves are getting married, things like that. Oh, well, that's way different than anybody I've heard before. They don't know why it sounds different. They just know, oh, well, I can actually hear. This means that this person must know what they're doing. I want them to do mine because when I went to my sister's, that person, he just had, it just sounded different. And, they probably know the looks are a little bit different too, but.
Yeah, that's what I was going to mention is also the look. So like if you think about the automotive industry, let's go back to the 50s and 60s. The cars were kind of boxy. They got the job done, that they were made to get people from point A to point B. Later 60s, 70s, 80s, they started making them curvy. They started making it aerodynamic. And essentially, Corvettes and Porsches, they started getting sexy. They started getting this really modern. Joe?
Is he done already?
Still chewing. He's still chewing.
How much time can you show us your phone?
According to my timer, it's been 14.5 minutes. Yeah.
And he had half an hour?
He's done. He's done.
He still has some Coke left. Yeah, because that's going to be a challenge for you.
So
that's going to be the hardest part.
I'll continue on my point that I was trying.
Yeah, you're good. Sorry about that.
But so cars now. Think about when we were kids. We're playing with toy cars, and we're playing with the futuristic looking cars, right? They were all extremely curvy, almost spaceship looking. What's a Tesla look like today? Like, look, now it's 2020. We have cars coming out that are like cars we played with when we were kids that we thought were going to be 1,000 years away. I think our setups are kind of that way. The DJ industry is going to a very sleek, streamlined, clean, no wires. The DJ booths, a lot of them are going to where everything's totally built in, and it's just one nice little, no more tables we set up on with skirts and stuff like that. A lot of these really high-end DJs, they're going to these nice, elegant, clean, somewhat futuristic looking setups.
Yeah, and I think that they kind of have, it's kind of hard not to in ours, just simply because a lot of even the venues are starting to do that kind of stuff now. They're making theirs that much cleaner. They're doing that much more for theirs. They're not just a big open gym anymore. Just a big open ballroom, nothing on the walls, nothing. They're some are building in uplights, some are building in downlights, some are building in, sconces around the top that have LED lights that go on and off throughout the night. They got super elegant chandeliers, and they got all this other kind of stuff that, when you walk in and you have potentially 2 speakers on a stick with a long table with a skirt with wires dangling out the side, you kind of look out of place. And, that's where keeping relevant and being able to make those changes and do those things differently can definitely help you stand out.
Well, and I also think, going into one of those venues, it's very modern, very current. You set up what we'd call an outdated setup. So new equipment costs money. There's no doubt about it. Not everybody has the financial means to get the newest speakers or the newest DJ booth. But what doesn't cost money is just doing research and changing your style with the times. Okay, maybe you started DJing in the mid 80s and the hot songs back then and the hot styles and the hot ways MCs interacted with the crowds might not work nearly as well today. You got to be able to adapt and change. And that's a thing that's really hard in our industry, because most of us get into the industry, we're the bride's age. We're 21, 22 years old. We can connect. It's our music. Yeah. Well, if we stay in this, we get to our mid 30s or early 40s, mid 40s, our brides are still 21, 22 years old. Yeah. We remember that. And their styles are totally different than ours were 20 years ago.
Yeah, and Joe, we'll get to you in just a second, see how you're feeling. It's kind of what we talked about in one of our other episodes is with everything that's going on new, everything is kind of instant. And that's part of staying relevant too is, are you up on Facebook? Are you on Instagram? If people are getting a hold of you, are you contacting them back quickly? Because that's the industry standard now. I got an email from a bride today and I was in the middle of eating dinner, but I was like, you know what? I got to take a break. I got to answer this person back, because if I don't, they're going to move on to the next person because I didn't get a hold of them. So,
Mhm.
within 20 minutes, I've got an email response back, and, we've already conversed 3 times today. So it's just those little things to keep staying relevant that way too, is not just equipment, not just the trends, but how are you contacting your customers? How are you interacting with your customers? How are you, what kind of service are you offering your customers? Because, when you and I first started, like I said, I talked to somebody once on the phone. I said, yep, I'll be there. And they just assumed that I'd show up.
Mhm.
And I just assumed that they would pay me
Right.
when we got done. But now, and just saying, but nope, got to have a deposit. We got to do this. We got to have contracts. We got to have, because that's just the way.
Well, and that actually, that little tidbit you just said reminded me a little bit of an article that I made note of that I wanted to mention in this episode real quick, and then we'll get to seeing how Joe's feeling. So I came across this article that's it's about common wedding disasters, and you guys can look it up, but you can find common things, and I'll go into depth more in a further episode as to different common things that can go bad. But one of them that was on that list that I saw was it's talking about, maybe you hire a friend to do your wedding planning or the DJing for your wedding, or maybe you hire a friend to officiate, and how to get around if they cancel on you last minute, because we see that all the time. And the answer in that article was hire a professional and make sure there's a solid contract in place. So that's very, very smart, very good advice.
So, and actually, not to interrupt, but that happened with my brother's wedding. Was they hired I don't know if it was a friend or who it was to do a wedding, and ever since then I use that as an example when I talk to some of my couples, and I just say, hey, firsthand, I understand what could happen. They got married 2.5 years ago, and they still haven't received any wedding pictures. So,
Man,
yeah. So so that's something that, like you said, I share those experiences, and I say, hey, not that they're bad, but just understand that you should have a contract.
right.
Yeah. And I mean, it is, I unfortunately, and I know you guys get them too, you get that frantic call day of, hey, can you come, because my friend who is going to DJ, he got sick, or his mom got sick, or he decided he didn't want to do it, he or she, they can't make it. Are you available today? And,
Mm-hmm.
99% of the time we're not.
Yep.
And if we are, it's like, well, we probably have that weekend off for a reason. So sorry. And, you feel bad, but, and I really hope that anybody who ever does, because I know people will continue to have their families do stuff, and I hope that it works out exactly how you want it to, and it's perfect the way you want it. But that whenever somebody says, oh, we're not going to book with you, my uncle said he can do it, I always get that little knot in my stomach, and it's like, okay,
Yeah,
I would 10 times rather hear, hey, I can't, I went with this other, this other
Right.
ABC DJ company because their prices were just a little bit better. I felt more connected to them or something like that. I still don't like not being able to book that, but I feel way happier that you booked another professional company who's
right.
coming out to do it, instead of, oh yeah, my uncle said he could probably do it.
It's
Yep.
always so scary
Okay.
to hear that.
Yeah, a little scary. So how you feeling, Joe?
Oh man, I feel good. I feel fine. When I went
a
off
hard challenge?
No. When I went off the camera, a lot of people are probably going to think I was throwing up or whatever, but my charger, my laptop took a spill this morning. My charger got bent, so it wasn't charging. So I had to find another charger real quick. So I didn't piece out of this podcast early, but no, I feel like a brand new man. I had dinner. What time is it? I had dinner at 7:00 or something like that. And, just did that challenge. So I'll be ready for breakfast or midnight snack, whatever.
Oh man.
No, but sounded like you guys were talking about important stuff. I mean, equipment, relevancy, everything like that. I mean, that was one of the big things that Jesse and I talked about when, we started talking about proms and high schools and stuff. And because I worked in a high school at the time, and TikTok was everything. Working with the dance team, TikTok is everything. So that was huge, keeping up on the trends for sure. It was everything. And I think it's going to continue to be. And I think, like you said, Kyle, another thing that's going to separate us is the difference between, can you get this song or can you not get this song? You know what I mean? We should be able to have access and means to get all of that, because that's what people want. Because the brides are even younger than me now. And I'm younger than you guys. So they're right out of college. They want that college party, those songs, whether they're country or classic, classical style music or whatever it is. They want what they want, and we had to be able to get that.
Yeah,
yeah,
sure.
and we're running out of time, but there's a lot of things we didn't touch on about staying relevant. There's a lot of traditions that we can dive into in a future episode, that the wedding traditions are changing. Of course, we talked about equipment, but also the way we market our businesses are changing drastically. The way we communicate with our clients are changing. So that's going to be for another episode. But we want to thank you guys for tuning in. Again, be sure to like, subscribe, share with your friends. We want to get a lot of viewers. We want to help the community. So thank you guys. We love you. Have a good day.
Thanks, guys.